We start with a paradox. Imagine a single absolute point of pure, indivisible existence. Now, watch as that absolute unity fractures, plunging downward to form an incredibly dense, heavy foundation of matter. This tension is the starting point for Sri Aurobindo. He mapped out a massive philosophical architecture to explain it in his journal, the Arya. If this absolute state is entirely perfect and unseizable by human thought, there must be a middle term, a specific logic that drives the desire to exist in a physical form. This diagram illustrates Aurobindo's concept of involution. It is a mandatory first step where the absolute deliberately involves itself downward, stacking increasingly dense layers until it buries its own consciousness completely into base matter. The physical world serves as a deliberate, heavily compressed foundation, designed specifically for a future spiritual unfolding. Integral evolution requires an upward trajectory from matter, reversing the process of involution through a stepwise ascent. Traditional spiritual systems often view Earth as a trap, prioritizing a final exit from the material cycle into enlightenment. Aurobindo's model views human faculties as psychological engines meant to physically force the ascent back up the metaphysical stack. This process targets a total structural transformation of the human being rather than a mere withdrawal from reality. Humanity occupies a transitionary phase, a laboratory designed to construct the next inevitable state of consciousness. Nature begins its climb from the stage of inert matter, slowly releasing the crude, vital energy that eventually manifests as life. Self-aware human consciousness, or mind, eventually emerges from these vital biological foundations. This timeline stops at the current human state, mind. Here we remain preoccupied with fleeting interests. The next leap occurs when the mind stops looking outward and turns forcefully upon itself to understand its own origin. Prakriti, or lower nature, governs the mechanical and repetitive workings of this unevolved current state. Without deliberate inner effort, human evolution remains trapped in the mechanical loop of Prakriti. Transitioning to the individual requires looking at how one actively turns mind upon itself. Aurobindo describes our current psychological instruments as playing a music of discords, requiring systematic purification. Aurobindo's solution is the triune path: knowledge, will, and love. Knowledge is an immediate perception of underlying oneness. Will is the forceful mechanism driving spiritual action. Love binds these faculties together in synchronized harmony. These integrated divine powers must act simultaneously within human nature to trigger the next evolutionary step. Traditional spiritual disciplines often fail to transform the entirety of human nature because they focus on isolated aspects of the self. The analytical methodology of Sankhya focuses on detaching the inner self entirely from the mechanical workings of lower nature. Vedanta provides a different focus, seeing the totality of existence directly as the divine. Sri Aurobindo reinforces the unitive truth of Vedanta with the surgical dissecting methods of Sankhya. This synthesis aims at becoming Trigunatita, a state superior to the mechanical habits of lower nature. This state allows one to engage reality fully while maintaining unified consciousness with the divine. Evolutionary perfection requires both surgical detachment from lower instincts and active unitive participation in the world. Sri Aurobindo applied this synthesis practically through his translation of the ancient Vedic texts. The Vedas encode a precise operational architecture of human psychology. The spiritual will acts as a forceful psychological fire that cleaves through the resistive layers of our lower nature. This divine will, Agni, provides the force to break through lower instincts and access a higher truth. This ancient mythos provides the specific micromechanisms needed to power the macroevolution of our consciousness today. Returning to the macro perspective of the evolutionary stack, we can see a new top layer solidifying. This supramental, or divinized consciousness, locks into place and unites the entire stack, allowing energy to flow between the highest truth and base matter. This state achieves the absolute manifestation that justifies the universe's original descent into matter. The divine Shakti, a timeless, universal power, secretly maintains and directs this entire evolutionary movement. The ultimate goal of this system is the manifestation of the divine directly into time and matter. The individual soul's intense inner work transforms it into a purified instrument for this universal manifestation. This evolutionary leap has immediate consequences for the structure of human civilization. Human civilization currently operates through chaotic, egoistic collision. An evolved society functions through an aligned, spiritualized unity. This profound evolutionary shift replaces our previous human fragmentation with a breathing geometric network where individual nodes function in total alignment. This transition introduces the Superman, a concept that requires moving past popular cultural caricatures. In Aurobindo's terms, the Superman is the inevitable biological and spiritual result of mastering the psychological instruments. Integral evolution offers a rigorous, operational blueprint for the next inevitable stage of human existence on Earth.